And Elio it's a dear friend that I haven't seen in a long time, but his dad was played with Sol de Mexico for a little while in 1981. He helped us out when there was three trumpet players. We had Chencho and Toño, and Jose was playing violin. Then Chencho and Toño left. Jose got trumpet, and Arturo helped us for a little while. And then after him, then we invited Animas. He was 17, so he played with us when we were 1981.
Wow.
So, yeah, so I mean, it's a lot of things to talk about. But hola amigos, aquí su amigo Chuy Hernández, dándoles una bienvenida aquí a Noches de Podcast, aquí con mi amigo Pedro Torres Jr. Sí, señor.
Testing, perfect. You want to try it out? One little button, one little click, and the light should be green. And we're connected.
Green. Oh my God, it's green. I'm connected. That's what happens when you get married, when you get connected and you want to disconnect. Sale muy caro.
Let me turn that off.
There we go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Noches de Podcast here with Pedro Antonio. We have a very special guest today. This one hits home because it's a very special guest, very special friend from my childhood. I guess my father was in Sol de Mexico, and that's where I was able to get to know this very, very talented, amazing, talented musician, great person, human being. Pues I'm going to just get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, Chuy Hernandez from Sol de Mexico.
Un aplauso, por favor.
I'm going to edit the applausos later.
You gotta put that in there. Just so people know that I'm still alive.
How you been, Chuy? How you been, Chuy?
I've been good. It's been difficult. I don't want to say emotionally because I'm emotionally stable, but the pandemic I think has hit a lot of people, and the fact that you can't really go out and work comfortably. I still go out and gig and stuff, but to do it comfortably, where you don't have to worry about people maybe infecting you and so forth. So it's been a little bit of a trying experience, but yeah, we're moving along. Yeah.
Yeah, who would have thought, huh, that we would have been in a pandemic?
I've lived many years. Came into the United States in 1962, and lived through many chaotic moments like the assassination of John F. Kennedy, the assassination of Robert F. Kennedy, and Martin Luther King. So those were very traumatic when I was a kid and then when I was a teenager. I would never think that it was going to be something more traumatic than that, and that is the pandemic. So it's amazing. It's really amazing.
Crazy times. You think it's almost over?
The pandemic?
Yeah, or you think things are going back to normal or new normal forever? What do you think?
It's really hard to say. But I think that the pandemic was done on purpose, to create a lot of havoc in the voting process, so on and so forth. But that's up to the politicians. They play a lot of games, and so now it's hard to say, man. It's hard to say. The best thing you can do as an adult is know what the risks are and do the best that you can under the circumstances. As simple as that.
Yeah, life goes on.
Yeah, and then it's kind of sad when somebody that's close to you. I mean, recently, a couple of days ago, Juan Jimenez, great guitarrón player from the Camperos, he passed away. But at the end of the day, if you go into the hospital and die of something that's other than COVID, but you still test positive, they'll say that's a COVID death. So it's hard to say, you know what I mean? So it is what it is.
But if you had 3 words to describe yourself, what would they be? How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
I used to be handsome.
Y ahora más.
When I was a young man. No, but I would say humility. That's one thing that I think that I have, and to me that's the most important quality to have as a human being, as a musician, and just in general, because that's the best way that you get along with people, and I think that I do carry that aura with me, that I'm a humble person. Another one, passionate about music and women.
It's todo, ¿no?
Who's
Yeah.
not, right? You know, every male should be passionate about women. I mean, that's the greatest gift God gave us,
You see, yes.
is women. So we need to admire the women and respect and value them when you know, your wife or your girlfriend, whatever. But I think those
La
good
Sancha
words.
también, ¿verdad? La Sancha también.
Pues de vez en cuando. You know, we all go through our process, right? I mean, you know, I started actually mariachi. I was actually older, I think, because most mariachis. At what age did you start?
My dad gave me a violin when I was 7. I started performing when I was 13.
Okay, so I started at 23.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and you may say, "Oh, how come so late?" And as everybody knows, my family, my older brothers are world class. To me, they're the best mariachis ever. I mean, starting with the youngest was Chuy Hernandez. It, to me, is the epitome of what a perfect storm mariachi is. No te muevas.
3, 1, 2, 3.
I show you.
I'm so sorry about that. World class, best in the world. Starting with Chuy Hernandez, you were saying.
Yeah, well, I have 3 ultra talented brothers, and that's Pedro Rey. Our older brothers, we were very, very lucky. My dad was a very, very good violinist. Mi papá, he started at 7 years old. He played vihuela when he was a kid, and then around, I think at the age when he was a teenager, he got picked up violin, and learned from my father. I mean, my grandfather, Jose Hernandez, was the grandpa. And our mentor for Jose, myself, were our older brothers, Pedro, Antonio, and Chencho. And then Beto, myself, and Jose came along. Beto got into mariachi before we did, and you know, watching them perform at a really high musical level was a great education for us. You know, at the time, you know, when you're young, you don't realize the musical impact that your older kin can have on you. And Pedro, of course, is well renowned. Chencho is like considered, if not the best. He, you know, him or my brother Jose are trumpets. Take your pick. It's like a 2-headed coin. Wherever you're not gonna lose. Flip it, and wherever it lands, it's gonna be fine. Yeah, they're both incredible. But I've always said, you know, Jose's my younger brother, and somehow, I mean, everything just like. He was like the perfect storm of musicianship, with everything, you know, came together. Where, you know, and by a perfect storm, I mean that, you know, was somebody that revolutionized arranging, right, mariachi music, and doing it without losing the flavor of mariachi, which is the greatest thing. Sings amazing. As a trumpet player, you could say he's the best, or you could say Chencho's the best. You can choose between the two of them. And as a director, I mean, he directs Sol De Mexico and Mariachi de Los Angeles. So, and they're the 2 best groups that I think, musically speaking, in the world. You know, I played there for many, many years, so I know the musical bar is really high. And he's always like innovating, man. So it's like, yeah, I have a lot of admiration for him. He's a musician. I mean, you know, besides the fact that he's my brother, some people say, "Why you say that because he's your brother?" I go, if you know my family, we never like, "Hey man, you're great." You know, we would never tell each other that. You know, for me, I grew up, you know, playing guitar. I mean, I used to play trumpet from 6th grade all the way through high school. When I got into college, I go, well, music is not going to be what I'm going to do, so I gave it up. And then within a year, I was like missing music, and my dad taught me my first chords. And then Manicos I already knew by watching what I had watched all my life.
That was at what age, más o menos?
I was 19, probably 20, because college I started when I was 19, and then about a year later I started picking up guitar. And then I was just like, technically, I had to develop technique because I couldn't. I knew manicos, but I couldn't play them, so I had to practice every day, just for me. I wasn't going to be a mariachi. It's just, mariachi chose me. And that's why at 23 years old, I had just gotten married. I go, okay, do I teach secondary school or do I want to do mariachi? And mariachi went out, and here I am.
We talked about that a little bit before the podcast. We had a little car ride, Chuy and I. I also recall we had a chat about where you were born. I'm sure a lot of viewers, they hear you excellent English, and I'm sure some people are wondering, can we go over a little bit about that? You had a couple years in Mexico, and then you moved out here?
Well, I was born in Mexicali. So all my older brothers were born in Chapala, Jalisco, which is my first. Pedro, Antonio, Chencho, and Beto. They were born in Chapala, Jalisco. And then my dad migrated to Mexicali, close to Calexico, because there was dollars there, so they make more money with Mariachi Chapala, right? So I was born in Mexicali. So as well as two sisters, Guadalupe and Josefina, and then Jose. Mm-hmm. We were born in Mexicali. So we were there for I was 11 years old when we came over to the United States, and we did it legally. Which is, I don't criticize people that want to come to the United States. It's the greatest country in the world, but my dad, was lucky enough that he got immigrated, and then he immigrated his family. Mm-hmm. And we came in at the end of 62, and then I went through elementary, junior high, and high school here in the States, and then college, and then mariachi, and here I am, it's like, I never thought that people would put me at a level where sometimes I get overwhelmed in a way, or humbled by the fact that people see you as this mega person that loves and plays mariachi music.
I mean, I'm sure you have an idea. I don't know, I could be wrong. I'm sure you have an idea, but worldwide, you are just well known. People just they know your voice. They love your guitar playing. They followed you. They've followed you your whole life, and it's awesome. It's beautiful, and I forgot where I was going with this. Fuck.
It's okay. I understand. Those happen to me all the time. And then, but yeah, you never think of yourself as now, with social media, our music reaches everywhere, man. It's like, I get messenger from people in Colombia, España, El DF, various parts of Mexico, always like, maestro, esto, lo otro, esto, lo otro, and they're like, always like giving me praise for stuff that I recorded with Sol De Mexico, or the way I played my instrument, so on and so forth. And that sort of humbles you, because before that, there was no social media. So you're playing and you want to be good, but you're never really getting feedback from your brothers, because we weren't that kind of family. Hey, que chingón, man, brother, We would just like appreciate what. When I heard my brothers play trumpet, I was like, it's like, and then you want to be good too. It's the first time that I heard a positive, like a comment that impacted me. Believe it or not, was from, I don't know if you know who Rigoberto Alfaro is, who was he's known as the GOAT on guitar playing and mariachi. Mm-hmm. And he was part of Mariachi Vargas in the 60s, from 60 all the way through, I think he left around 70. He was like for 10 years, but he was like badass, if I'm allowed to say that. and we were in New Mexico, and he was directing, and we were doing los arrieros. And for some reason, there was no vihuela, it was just me on the guitar. And then we were playing, and he's like looks over to me and he smiles, big smile. So we finished the song and we finished the performance that we did, and then we were in the back putting away the instrument, and he goes, then he came a really nice compliment. He goes, man, you put me out to pasture, and I go, I right away told him, I go, that's impossible. I go, because you're the icon. Nobody puts icons away. And that's very true, because, you're Miguel Martinez on trumpet. I mean, he's known as the father of the trumpet style. So he's an iconic figure that if Pedro, my brother Chencho, my brother Toño, Jose took from that style, and then Chencho upped it, the ante. But now we're talking also Cipriano, excuse me, Cipriano Silva, who also was a trumpeter of Mariachi Vargas. And he came and he took like Don Miguel's stuff and he kind of just gave it his own spin. And then Chencho came along and took that, and he fused everything together. And then Jose comes along and he's like, you know what I mean? So icons are icons. It does, it's like a good example would be Ford, the original car, right?
Yes,
is it the best car in the world? It's not, right? There's Porsche, Audi, there's perdón,
Todos esos.
and there's a Mercedes Benz, but Ford began it all, so you gotta like give kudos to that. That's the icon, and then everything else evolves, gets better, right?
Exactly.
Like mariachi for us, the iconic mariachi for us was the Vargas in the 60s, when Don Jesus de Ijar, who passed away a few months ago, and Don Rigo were writing for Vargas, and that was the most creative decade.
Songs that are still played today.
Yeah, Fiesta en Jalisco, all those iconic pieces that everybody plays.
Even I even noticed that new mariachi players they get sucked into those songs. They just love it. It's so beautiful,
definitely.
so beautiful range.
Yeah, and really something very interesting that when Don Rigoberto, because he does New Mexico every year, so as we do, we were playing and he says, you were the only group that retained our style of play. Said, but you perfected it.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? From the icon, he says, you guys perfected what we left. And he didn't mention other groups. You guys. And this, of course, he's heard every other group. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's going to love Sol de Mexico, right? Somebody could say, yeah, they're real good, but I think I like Los Camperos better, or I like Tecalitlan better, or Vargas better. That's fine, because, if we're to argue Luis Miguel or Cristian Castro, I can tell you Luis Miguel is a perrón, but recording-wise, to me, Cristian is a little more hard. But it's the gusto, you know what I mean? It's like somebody telling me, hey, you play guitar well, but I like so-and-so better. Oh, that's cool. Doesn't bother me one bit. Whatever I was able to keep mariachi, it's recorded in the Sol de Mexico records, and it's right there. Whatever I could sing, is there. Whatever I played is right there, and that's it, man.
Songs that will be played forever. I can imagine. I'm pretty sure. Craziest or biggest, or maybe venues or cities that you never thought you'd be visiting because of mariachi. What? That was horribly put.
No, I mean, I've been all over the world.
Yeah.
I've been over the most impactful place that we went was North Korea in 2001, Pyongyang, which is where all the military, everybody's there. We saw the missiles. I mean, they took us sightseeing, because you cannot go and sightsee on your own. They won't let you. You need escorts. So they would always take us, we're going to go see the tombs of the old kings, and they would actually go.
Wow.
And it was really, really amazing. And then one morning they go, tomorrow morning we'll see you guys at 8 in the morning in the lobby. Okay. So we're there, and I go, man, maybe they're going to take us to a firing squad or something. We're just wondering what's happening, right? So they go, we're taking you to a very special place. So we get on the bus and we go, and we're all like with our suits, not charter suits, but our travel suits on. So we get there, and then like we're standing here, and then we see something over here where people are like going over them, migrating this way, walking, and then they stop here, and then they continue. So I noticed there was like an object over here like this. So I wondered, I wonder what it is, why people are stopping there. So when we get there, they had their previous king, ruler, in state, in a glass casket.
Wow.
In other words, it's frozen, but he just looked like he was asleep.
Oh,
That's
really?
Kim Il Sung. That was the fallen king.
Uh-huh.
Now, his son was presiding when we went. Now he passed away too, so now it's the grandson that is
Mm-hmm.
the presiding. Pero that was very impactful. And then the fact that in North Korea they never heard mariachi before. So you would think, well, how did you arrive? How did you get there? Well, every year they have a fine arts, like what they call it, the Olympics of Fine Arts. They invite different countries to go perform.
Wow.
So they had music, jazz music, they had folklorico dance, they had classical dance, they had orchestra music, they had everything, symphonic music, and we were representing mariachi. So the producer goes that he wanted to hear us because he heard us, and then we took, I think, 2 couples folclóricos. We did a couple pieces, Casita en Chihuahua, el Jarabe Tapatío. And then we played our own stuff, like Len Miller and stuff like that. And they were like, producer goes, he told the interpreter, tell them they will be closing the 3 nights here. So we closed.
Wow.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Because of that show.
Because North Korea is an extension of Russia when it comes to music.
Mm-hmm.
So the musicianship, you'd be amazed, man. When we got off of the plane, we start walking, we hear this screaming trumpets, like, wow, man. And then as we get closer, it was all women. It was all women. We looked at each other and go, yeah. And then took us to the parade, and we're walking. You see young kids directing small symphonies, like 13 years old. I mean, it was amazing. So the degree of musicianship, that's why for us to close 3 nights in a row was like a really high honor.
Yes.
¿Me entiendes? And then from there we flew to Beijing, and we did a concert there too, which was sold out. And it was funny because you see the audience, right? You're performing, and then we go to the lobby to sign CDs. They were all practically Chinese students, speaking Spanish like better than us. Maestro, nunca habíamos escuchado el lenguaje de español cantado. Qué gran honor. I'm like, oye, ¿quién les enseñó español?
Wow.
Oh, tenemos un buen maestro que es de Cuba.
Wow.
But it was very eye-opening. And of course we went to the Great Wall, a little sightseeing and stuff like that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was incredible. But as a mariachi, I'll tell you that my most gratifying experience was in September 20th, 1996. Your dad was in the group.
Mm-hmm.
You can ask him about it. We played in Garibaldi for 99% of mariachis. You know why? We were supposed to play at this place called El Mariachi Restaurant for 2 nights. And the owner was somebody that we knew. He goes, hey, you guys are gonna be in town? But we were out there like advertising the Glenn Miller record, La Nueva Era. So he goes, hey, you're gonna be in town, why don't you perform in my place a couple of nights? He sold tickets, everything was sold out. And the Vargas people found out, so they sent the mariachi syndicate from the musicians union to go
stop
to
it.
Yeah, and they stopped the guy. He goes, says, if you allow a foreign mariachi to perform here, you're gonna be cited.
Wow.
So the guy called Jose, ¿sabes qué me pasó? No te apures. Yeah, don't worry about it. We're on tour anyway.
Yeah.
So curiously enough, one morning I was coming down from the hotel to have breakfast, and I saw a couple guys that I knew.
Mm-hmm.
Uno le dicen el Chilito Relleno, es hermano de Björkis, del violín que tocaba con el Vargas. Él y otro que le decían el Calimán, que tocaba violín, él tocó con los Galleros hace años, ¿sabes? Y me habían dicho, Chuyazo, ¿cómo estás? Hey, ¿cómo estás, Calimán? Oye, tu carnal, ¿dónde está? What's your brother? He goes, oh, he's coming down in a few minutes. Oh, I want to talk to him. He says, well, let's wait. So he comes down, he goes, hey, we found out why you're not playing at the restaurant. He goes, the Vargas people put a stop to it.
Dang.
Jose goes, yeah, I kind of had a feeling about that. Says, but you know what? All of Garibaldi will not allow you or your group to leave unless we hear you. So we're here to make it work. Jose goes, if you find me a place, good sound system, we'll perform a show for you free.
Wow, yeah.
And that was that night.
Qué
Tell
bueno.
your dad, ask your dad about it. And I have it on DVD.
Sí,
It's
yeah,
for
no.
sale, DVD.
A ver, as you heard it here first, folks.
You know, there's, actually I just gave a copy of that to Pique, who's, you know, Pique is on
Wow.
guitar, he's a bad dude, you know, he plays such a talented individual. And we have a really close relationship, and I told him, hey, I'm going to give you this. I go, tell me what you think about it. So he took it, and about 2 or 3 days later, he texted me, he says, Mariachazo. He was Don Chuy, he says, I think that generation was the best Mariachi, Sol de Mexico Mariachi generation of all of them. Because all the generations are
I
great,
agree,
they've all been really good. But that generation was like, and not necessarily the best musicians, which brings me to the fact that it's about teamwork.
Yes.
It's not about, everybody has to be great.
Exactly.
And then you need a section leader. I was my rhythm section leader, Jose on trumpets, and then he had Ernesto Molina. During that time, he was the leader in the violins. So it was Ernesto Molina, Joaquin Rodriguez, Adam Ramirez was in the group. Who else was it? Dennis Mead, Fernando Moreno, and I think I'm missing somebody else. Sopi.
La Pera?
La Pera too.
Oh.
Yeah, so 7 violinists.
Oscarín?
No, Oscar was in the group yet.
Oh, okay.
And then we had El Payo, Filiberto Ramirez on guitarrón, Pedro Torres on vihuela was guitar, and Arturo Gerson on harp. And trumpets were Jose, El Émbulo, el compita, you know, Santiago, y El Huachi, Jose Ramirez. It was like I said, you don't necessarily have to have the best musicians. You just have to have a good director and people that are willing to work as a group. That's all. Your dad was a guitarrón player, was not a vihuela player.
Yeah.
You know, he came into the group because he liked his voice. But your dad had long hair, he had a big arracada, he had como Juan del Diablo, you know. Jose told me, like, oh, you willing to cut your hair? And no, yeah. And we knew that he wasn't, because we had 2 auditions, him and Javier Jauregui. Jose goes, what do you think? Oh, Javier is the best player, better player than. Says yes, but Pedro's got a better voice, and we can train him. That's cool. So I told your dad, I go, you must just follow me. We're gonna sound good. The rest is history, as they say, right? So it's about teamwork. So wherever you go, it's teamwork. If you don't, you know, you can have the best players and they don't play together, man. It's like.
Wow, guys, ¿cómo ven?
We can do that. You know what I like to sort of get across to musicians that play our music, like we play rhythm, and sometimes people think it's rhythm is just like thump, 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 you know, just manicos, stuff like that. And I go, and when they ask me personally, how do I approach when I play? I go, I want the guitar to sing what I feel inside. Right? Te pones allí, y si nomás tocas por tocar así, the emotion behind the playing, that's what it is. I can play manicos. You play rhythm too, so you know manicos, right? Everybody knows manicos. If you're a professional, you know manicos. Okay, so that's cool. It's what you want to say from inside, what it is. And I always tell them, I go, I want my guitar to sing like if I was singing with my voice, right? Because people know me a lot. I always get a lot of praise for singing, and I go, man, I don't consider myself a singer.
Oh,
I sort of got, because we all did it like singing. I mean, if you know my family, all my nephews, like, wow, you know, they all sing really, really well. So it was nothing like, oh, hey, man, I could sing. It was just part of the family thing, you know. It's like you play, you sing, and it's normal. ¿Entiendes? And of course, I had like Pedro Rey, which is the epitome of expression when it comes to singing. So all of that stuff, when Beto, my brother, like puro corazón, Toño singing boleros. Jose just sings everything from guapangos to rancheras to whatever you put in front of him. And myself, I was just like boleros, right? I mean, I could sing other stuff, but people know me for boleros. Oiga, la amante perfecta, que esto, que lo otro. And I go, oh, gracias, you know. It's like, I just did what we do. I mean, it wasn't like, oh man, you know. So when I get praise for that, I'm like, it humbles me. Kind of like, oh, shit. Why do people think I'm a great singer? Maybe because I express. That's because I've been married 3 times, so I have a lot of emotion in my heart.
A lot of feelings, a lot of
feelings, you know. But yeah, mariachi music is so emotional, right? And so when I play, you know, like right now I play in a 5-piece group, and people say, "Do you miss Sol de Mexico?" I go, I miss the high level of musicality that my brother brings to the table, and you have to have a lot of discipline to learn. And as you get older, it becomes a little more difficult to like memorize things. And then I say like, I got on, but I could still play. The last record that I recorded was Bailando Sones y Guapangos, which is all like folklore, and that's my cup of tea. I go, okay, you know, so it sounds like, you know, the rhythm section sounds really, really good.
Yeah, it does.
But other than that, you know, that's what I miss. The routine is really difficult to say because I was the one who coordinated everything. So if we were going to travel somewhere, I would have to like, everybody, nos vemos a esta tal hora, no se les olvide esto, lo otro, whatever. I'd be on it. I didn't see it as something like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. I just thought it's my job, you know. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Órale, boom, boom, boom. But now that I'm not there, I go, damn, I did all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's kind of, you look at it in a different light. And now, of course, I wake up whenever I want to wake up. If I wake up. And the good Lord so far, no, because every morning when you get older, I'm 69, by the way. I don't look 69, right? I look like what, 79?
No.
People always think like I'm at least 10 years younger than 69. But, and that's another thing with mariachis, you know, that always you tend to either, you know, the polvito or drink a lot or maybe do mota a lot, whatever. You have to do everything with moderation. The only thing that I was like, I couldn't kick for a long time was women. It's the greatest gift to man is the women. You know, but as you go along, you begin to realize, oh man, if I keep this up, I already had 2 divorces under my sleeve. You know, I go, I don't want that to happen again. So you begin to modify, and then you get a little older, and then you get a little wiser, and you go, okay, be cool. And then God sent me a really good, my 3rd wife is a great woman. And we're going on 24 years next month.
Congrats.
¿Me entiendes? Para que aguante, ¿verdad? Que aguante.
¿Verdad?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's mariachi music is it's from the heart. You know, if you just play and don't sing, but play your heart out. You know, play in within the context of a group, not say, yo soy el mero mero, you know, whatever. Mm-hmm. You know, and I get a lot of respect wherever I go. You know, don't you understand? You know, if people ask me for, ¿cómo le da ayer? I go, no, yo le doy así, mira. Always with humility, because Christ was the biggest character that came into this world, and he was the most humble. Can you imagine? He's the Son of God. and yeah, I'm Jesus too, you know, so it's like big, I have to carry the big responsibility. ¿Me entiendes? Pero yeah, if he was the most humble, and he was, you know, the Lord, God's Son, you know, us, we're just human beings, you know, so you try to be the best person that you can without, you know, affecting other people. If you can't help people, don't hurt people. Mm-hmm. If you could help. So my way of helping is, you know, giving a little bit back, whether it's musically or here being with you, you know, kind of, you know, helping you along with what you're doing.
Thank you.
And stuff like that. You know, it's important that people hear nice testimonies, you know, whether it doesn't really matter if you're like a a one of those characters within the mariachi world that people think that, oh my God, it's so and so. You know what I mean? It could be anybody, but if you have some kind of testament, I think that's good, because we all deserve to have a voice. ¿Me entiendes? And I know Elio was here. And who's Elio? Nobody knows Elio. I'm kidding. And Elio is a dear friend that I haven't seen in a long time, but his dad played with Sol De Mexico for a little while in 1981. Mm-hmm. He helped us out when there was 3 trumpet players. We had Chencho Antonio, and Jose was playing violin. Mm. Then Chencho Antonio left. Jose got trumpet, and Arturo helped us for a little while. And then after him, then we invited Animas. Animas he was 17, so he played with us when we were 1981. Wow. So, yeah, so I mean, it's a lot of things to talk about, but at the end of the day is, I'm not done yet because I still play. And like I said, it's 5 of us, 1 violin, guitarra, and 2 trumpets. And we go out and just play lo que es el folclore, rancheras, polquitas, sones, guapangos, and that's what I enjoy playing. Because people that know me, they know that I suffer with rheumatoid arthritis. So I take medicine and it allows me to play. But however, some damage happened to this part. So certain things that I can't do, I have to find another way of doing it. But my right hand is still pretty good. So good enough that I can still play. You know what I mean? And I want to play at the highest level that I possibly can, although I have this ailment. It's not that I can't play at 100%. It's when you have an impediment. You know what I mean? It's like if you're a sprinter and you can run the 100-yard dash in like 9.9, and then you're kind of hobbled a little bit, and you know what, I can't get it done until I heal. Mm-hmm. Once I heal, then I train again, I do it. But in my case, it's what the damage that is done, it's you can't undo it. It's permanent. So, but like I said, I'm enjoying this chapter after Sol de Mexico, stuff like that, the old, when mariachis approach me, goes, to you, who's the best mariachi? They'll ask me, right? And I go, well, there's 2 ways of looking at it. I go, the most famous, we know who it is Vargas de Tecalitlán. I go, they were given that logo, El Mejor Mariachi del Mundo, way back in the 50s when Don Rubén Fuentes was the head of RCA Records. He started recording Vargas de El Mejor Mariachi del Mundo. And they were for many, many, many years. And then in 1975, with Los Galleros, we butted heads in Tucson. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Don Rubén was present. He saw him, and he told my dad, he goes, this concert, Los Galleros were Vargas and vice versa. Oh. Yeah, because we had a really, really, Jose was writing already. It was just a tremendous, and it's not to say, hey, Vargas, no. It's the group. They're all my friends. They're really good musicians. ¿Entiendes? And we respect each other. So I always say the most famous is Vargas. The most musical is Sol de Mexico. But why do you say that? Who's better than my brother directing? There's nobody that writes like him or directs like him. I go, that guy is amazing. Not because he's my brother, but I mean, I hear his music, I look at him, and what he's done for mariachi, it's incredible. So, but like I said, that's my opinion. Somebody else may have a different opinion, but that's my take on it. But it's I don't think it's biased at all, because if they weren't, I could say, I think so and so is better. It's as simple as that. But I was blessed to be part of this family. Simple.
Chuy Hernandez, thank you so much. It's an honor. Thank you so much for your words, for your stories. Thank you for coming out here, for taking your time. Honestly, I appreciate it so much. I've looked up to you since I was a little kid. I remember, going to Cerrito Lindo and just, I do recall going and not going for my dad. I of course, my dad, I love my dad, his voice, I love all that stuff, but I do recall going and just like taking a look around, and I'm just like, wow, you know, everything.
Mhm.
It's all beautiful. It's all nice and neat. Your voice was just always memorable. I always, you know, and yeah, thank you so much. Any words to maybe the upcoming mariachi community? Maybe something.
No, you know, just for the young musicians, mariachi musicians, uh, you know, when you play mariachi music, it's very euphoric. You know, you feel this, like you're lifted. You know, just remember that, and practice and try to be the best version of yourself. Not necessarily copying anybody, but just be inspired by somebody. Like Don Rigoberto inspired me through my brother Pedro, because Pedro played guitar with Vargas for 2 years under the tutorage of Don Rigoberto Alfaro. So we learned that system through my brother Pedro, because someone Rigo heard me play, he goes, you know, it's like, mi hijado te enseñó, ¿verdad? Casi call him, you know, Pedro calls him padrino, and then vice versa. So somebody has to inspire you, but you want to be the best version of yourself. And, you know, that's what I was out to do. So if I can inspire anybody, that's great. And if not, that's great too, I guess.
No, you've inspired many people all around the world, and you keep inspiring people. As the songs, like I said earlier, are played. The new songs, older songs, the first recordings, the middle recordings, they're all still being played throughout the world. I see it on social media and stuff. Okay.
What is the name of the podcast?
Noches de podcast.
Noches de qué?
The podcast.
Oh, Noches de Paz. Dije. Paz. Noches de podcast. Okay.
Es todo. Muchísimas gracias, Chuy. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.